For a 10-year expulsion in India, a UK pair include consumable £300,000 of their own cash to assist affected dogs in a bathing beach city. Reason: it was imaginary to be a travel to see several of the planet following take previous resignation. Following conducting several period in Grandma Canaria, Mary and Steve Muscroft ordered a couple-week pack feast to Kovalam in Kerala, southward India. They did not get on their back flying. Instead of, they remaining to see following two dogs how had seized their hearts. 10 year on and they now include nearly 100 dogs, run and pet hospital in 3 personnel and include Set Up Road Dog Look Associate, an organization how rescues affected dogs and feeds, vaccinates and sterilizes the region's strays. In no way did I foresee the would be my lifetime, says Mary, a artist and ex-RSPCA voluntary of Middlesex. Yet we were never departure to fair sit and recite and eat and sip. I don't believe nobody would always include plan the although, how would be mad. Up modest, Steve, 59, had run a manufacture industry in Bradford. We weren't so off but we were convenient so we solved to depart time we were youthful quite, he says. We didn't include any set plans some rather than vision a bit of Europe. The pair's at first aim had been to see if they could regulate to a lifetime out of work. Yet we came there for a couple-week feast and bring down in loving in 2 save pups, Steve says. This entire item fair snowballed. 2 dogs became 6, later became 12 and on and at. It wasn't length up the pair begun to go out and nourish the road dogs of Kovalam, a refuge in hand wood-lined beaches by the Arab Ocean. The feed circle got so big a rickshaw driver was employed to conduct all the meal necessary for the 15-kilometer, 9 miles, travel. The rickshaw driver motorist was Cuckoo, now Road Dog Looks hospital officer, whose household as well assist of puppies would be found and driven behind, and original inhabitants begun to keep dogs at their gates. We found 6 puppies leftward in a plasticity bag one day, Steve says. And so began a lifetime of meeting up via the overnight nurse and feed dogs and readily them to get superior if they were bad. Their dogs are posted in 4 persons big shelters, in up to 25 to a orphanage. A common day begins by receive up and clean up. We get via a lot of pooper scoopers, Mary says. The dogs are fed and flooded and checks are transferred out to do certainly they are wholesome. Among 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. it is so hot, the temperature routinely get in the 30s and high. The animals include a dog nap and later at 4 p.m. the feed usual begins once again. Public print now acting a portion, in the detailed information of a stable flow of pups and dogs up for acceptance creature located on the internet. Yet, the pair do not encourage human beings of the UK should try to give a dog above as he's too costly and too tense for the pet. Nobody seduced to offer a household to a Carolan dog should instead of sacrifice to an pet save mercy, they tell. Illness is not too lot of a issue in the region, on to the pair. The booth personnel are grafted versus furiousness but occurrences of the illness are quite uncommon. Some diseases, such as turmoil and parvo are more than of a issue, for the animals at low, and the dogs are grafted versus them. The pair include plowed £300,000 of their own cash in Road Dog Look Associate, largest of that has lost on dog Thoroughness. They routinely conduct fundraisers and include been helping by household, friends and tourists who sacrifice cash to them. Sterilizations, that the pair at first begun to organize as the quantity of homeless dogs was so top, include newly stopped as the cash, sacrificed by a boyfriend, has run of. While they at first begun, 633 dogs were calculated about the beaches of Kovalam and Samudra. In 2017, down there were 89. He's not all downward to sterilization, but he's play its portion, Mary says. Just wholesome dogs are sterilized and the concept is to put the dogs behind on the road, quite rather than see following them at their shelters. Yet we yet see them, and verify if they are wholesome. Down there's no lack of meal and water supply for them, and they are complementary. It might be various if it was in a town, she says. A crowdfunding campaigning is up and fleeing, and meetings are take location in the regional by the government to try to include an formal license given. I wish Road Dog look to be personality sufficient and get the regional credibility to assist in the draft. He's so the cash human beings offer us can go on delicious for the dogs, quite rather than on main thoroughness, Steve says. He's been difficult, and the pair say they dwell to a main norm, crack tableware is the rule, but down there are no regrets. I miss household and friends, and a nice old British lunch. I miss departure to the pub and matchstick of the date, Steve says. Yet down there's reimbursement in some ways. Down there's no ice on my windshield and no center heater draft. I'm as lucky as a almost 60-year-old can constitute.